Everyone in this room has created something that was truly incredible using AI, and then it never saw the light of day after that. And if you're on a creative team, we think a reason why is because the top companies today, they're not asking for you to create gorgeous, creative campaign visuals, something for the flavor of this year. They're asking for the process that made it, something that they can use and repeat to be on brand over and over and over again. Technique is now the deliverable. Process, structure, methodology. And that shift, it changes a lot about how creative teams deliver value. That's the gap. And the teams who understand this and who adapt to it, I think and we believe that those are going to be the people who create the most compelling creative work for the next few years. And I'm really pleased to bring up someone who's been creating on the other side of that gap using FLORA. He's been a creative director for 20 years before AI was even a thing. And now he's creating on the other side of this gap and here to tell you more about how he thinks about process and how that can be the most valuable thing to hand to a client in 2026. Please welcome Benjamin Benichou.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Benjamin Benichou. We have 8 minutes together, and I have a big clock in front of me, so I cannot go over time. Basically, I'm going to do a quick introduction to give you as much context as possible, but the goal for this session is not to talk about the stuff that you've been hearing already for the past 2 years, but really talking about what's next in the creative landscape. So my name is Benjamin Benichou. I was born and raised in France. I've been in the States for the past 10 years. The reason I have this slide is because no one understands my name. So if you want to look me up on Instagram and LinkedIn, this is how you spell it. And so I started exploring and experimenting, with AI 3 years ago. And originally, like Charlton said, I was a creative director. And really, when the first generation of model came out, the goal for me was like, can I bring this idea that I have in mind and deliver highly crafted material? And that's where like my early generation, and like I say, I grew up in France, obsessed with Japanese culture, anime, all these different things. So at the beginning, it was just like an exploration for me and validating that with AI, we can create amazing content. And then a year ago, we launched 311 Labs, which is a dedicated studio where we still do the same work that we've been doing for the past 20 years, but focusing on AI pipeline. And when we started 311 Labs, everything I'm going to show you from now on, 100% has been AI generated. These visuals were made way before Nano Banana Pro. And like I say, at the beginning of the studio, the goal was we didn't want to use the facts that we use AI as an excuse for poor crafted campaign. We just wanted to like deliver one-on-one material. And so another thing that I feel is important is like we've been working with a top brand in the industry. So it's not just spec ads. We've been seeing a lot on LinkedIn, Super Bowl ad campaign, all this good stuff. I think for us, working with brands like Nike, Chanel, L'Oreal, always has been a way to prove that we can work in a real client setup with real feedback, real brief, and deliver content. And so I always like to show this like evolution because it's been 3 years and it still cracks me up when I look at what Midjourney V1 was producing. It was impressive at the time, not very usable. And then for like the past year and a half, we're seeing like a big evolution in the model, but everything kind of like looks like AI. And like I say, that wasn't something that we could deal with. And early on, our goal was like, we want to create like the same experience, the same consistency, being able to tell story, having perfect product integration, and really working on like the stills images, because for the past 3 years, like craft and demonstrating quality was what matters the most. And a lot of the time when we show the shot in the middle, you know, this type of shot, if I do it in real production, you know, I need a permit, I need a lift, I need like so many production overhead to being able to bring it to life. So it's not always about sci-fi, spaceship, explosion, all these different things. Sometimes it's just like being able to create a beautiful image to tell a story. And one thing that shifted for like the past 6 months is really this idea that we reached a point where there is no debate. We can create amazing content with AI. And what changed and what has been like the biggest challenge is when anyone can generate anything, like what's left. And for us, craft is above everything, and also the capability to turn, like single content and images into systems that are on brand and that we can scale to create a bigger piece of content, but also work with brand on this idea of like what is the deliverable of the future. And so these are like recent exploration. I'm going to play a short film just to show you like the evolution, because I feel that's another point. Like stills are not a question anymore. There is a lot of progress to be made on the motion side, but we also reach the point where we can deliver $1 million production with fully AI-generated pipelines. And so one thing that is important again is, like I say, craft is everything, and you want to use like the system. And one thing that we believe on a lot is like this idea of like the AI Bible. So the brand book is dead in a sense of a lot of the brand we work with, like they invest a lot of money building up guideline, brand books, and all this piece of material that were made to help human taking decision on like, what is the right font, what is the right color palette, what is the right treatment. And so the AI Bible for us is we still want to have like the human involved in the process, but we also want to build the right type of assets that allow us to produce at scale more content. And so the AI Bible is alive. That sounds pretty cool as a term. And, but for any of these to work, the tools have to catch up. And so that's another thing. We've been using FLORA for the past year now. Like I say, it's interesting to think that to being able to craft the example that I just showed you, working with like node-based system and workflows has been critical. But I think now what is like the most important is like also to being able to use features like techniques. So when we are delivering work to the clients, it's not just about the output, it's also about the system and the workflow, so they can use it internally, or we can use it on our side and being more efficient. And let's hope this video is going to work. Stop selling AI content, sell the system. And so that's a main idea. I still have a lot of people that like don't understand, when I say that we should deliver like our own workflow to our clients, because the mindset is still around, like how do you keep the value if your client is able to use, like the technique and the application. I think again, this is like, something that you cannot go against. And I feel no matter what, the human creativity and the future of our studio still remain in like, crafting the assets, crafting the system that they can use. But we believe that we don't want to be the AI content factory for our clients and they need to call us every time they need a new piece of material. We want to be able to explore different type of format and territories and being sure that their team internally will be able to access it and deliver more content over time. Thank you so much. My name is Benjamin Benichou. I'm going to be here all day. If you want to see some content, you can come and talk to me. Thank you so much.